Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules the Man Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back and discuss it. And this week we're going to be discussing episode 5 through 8 of Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress. And I'm not diving into the Iron Fortress alone. I'm here with my co-host Matt Galley. Matt, how are you this week?
I am so good. We were just talking about it before we started here, but I was playing a new board game yesterday. Gloomhaven: Jaws of the Lion. It's a
Yep.
lot of fun. Very D&D adjacent, and I haven't been playing a lot of new board games in like a long time. So it
Mhm.
was really nice to kind of pick something up new and try it out. Kind of like how with when starting the podcast, I hadn't been watching a lot of new anime for a while. I was sticking to a lot of the same stuff, so it's nice to branch out and try new stuff recently. It's been
Yeah,
keeping things fresh.
I'm definitely in my board game arc. We'll see how long I stay there, but I've been playing a lot of board games as well. But I've also been watching some anime, and I'm super excited about this one because we're talking about 5 through 8, episodes 5 through 8 of Kabaneri the Iron Fortress. A lot happened. I'm spoiler plot twist, I guess. I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot
Yeah,
of fun. It's
this is really good so far.
super good so far. We're going to dive into that. But if you have not seen episode 5 through 8, go ahead and watch our other episode, 1 through 4. If you're not caught up or anything, we can catch you up. It's on YouTube or Spotify. You can watch on Spotify there. And if you don't know, if this is the first time you're watching our show, you can submit 500 bits on live Twitch chat right now, twitch.tv/Jules the Human if you're watching this later. But we go live on Thursdays, and you can submit 500 bits and you can add an anime to the list. And we've picked quite a bit of anime. Kabaneri the Iron Fortress you still see there, but we have a lot more to pick from. So next week is our last week with Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, and then we're going to pick a new anime. So if you would like to get an anime put on the suggestion list, and if it's good or if it's not, two out there, we'll put it there and we'll add it to the list and we'll get to draw from it. You see Matt's other drawings there on his mic from the past, and we've done quite a few. This is where we rank them. We rank them here on the list. On the left is me, on the right is Matt. That's where we rank them. All the enemies we've seen, you can see those in the Discord there. But we have a lot to get into because there's
Yeah,
so much here and so much I want to discuss. It's really cool. Me and Matt don't talk about the show before. I don't know his opinions. I don't know what he thinks. I don't know what he's going to bring up. And it's really fun to see what caught each other's eye. So let's get into episode 5, Inescapable Darkness of Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress.
yeah, definitely kept the recaps a little bit lighter because there's a lot to get into, so I want to just start getting into all the stuff. In episode 5, the Kotet Sujo arrives in another derelict station with an obstacle in their way, blocking their advancement. Mume gets to speak to
Oh,
somebody from her past who gives her a little bit of a chilling warning, and the leadership of the train creates a plan that, thanks to Mume, quickly goes off the rails as Ikuma and Mume find themselves trapped in a cave as a new threat emerges.
oh man, that thing, the
The
hybrid
hybrid
colony.
colony, yes.
One thing I do like in this episode, it kind of shows some passage of time. I'm really digging like the small bit of passing of time from episode 4 to episode 5. I think it happens a little bit later on as well. Well, not really, but like they just kind of put you into a scene. So they put you into episode 5. Ikuma has outfitted the whole squad with new weapons. They
Yeah.
have all the upgraded weapons and
New
stuff like that.
bullets, new swords.
Yeah, and it's believable, right? Like
Yeah.
they in the last episode that we talked about, episode 4, they were like, okay, now we're friends. Now we're on the same side. That we did that whole thing, and it's believable because they went through that whole obstacle of, are they on our side? Are the Cabaneri on our side? Are they going to kill us? Are they really Cabernet? Whatever. And now they're like, here we go. We're on the same side. Here we are. We're going to give them blood for helping us.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then they are working together now.
So he
Um,
uses they start using like the steel of the heart cages to reinforce the swords. And after seeing how many kabane they like, slayed on the train and stuff like that, it all adds up. It all makes sense for sure. And then we also see the small moment where like oh no, that comes later. Never mind.
Okay.
Yes.
We meet a new person, Inoku, who serves the young master. We don't know who that is. Mume's brother. We don't haven't seen him yet. Uh, what's going on here? We don't know. I really like that. I really like when they give something weird like this. I found myself throughout these 4 episodes trying to solve the mystery, even though we're not given all of the
Yeah, the pieces.
pieces to play,
You
and
want to
I'm okay
see
with
the
that.
puzzle so far and just kind of like imagine, oh, is that piece right there? Is there going to be a house there? Is there going to be a tree there? Is there
There's
going to be a
so
street
many times.
there? You know what I mean?
There's so many times where they did that so well, where it was just a passing moment, and I was like, okay, cool. And then it does it again. I'm like, okay, what's happening here? Something here is going odd, especially with Mume, because she has the most clouded
Yeah.
backstory as of right now, that we want to know about. Like Ikoma, I guess, we don't know a whole lot about him in his past, but he's fine. Like we understand who his character is right now, but Mume, I think we're still trying to figure her out.
I think like, the way the we were talking about it last episode, it gave us the three main characters, kind of. It gave us Mume, it gave us Ayame, and it gave us Ikoma. And I think they each have this kind of like this like fatal flaw that they're trying to overcome. Not really fatal flaw, but I guess there's a questionable part of their character that us as the audience makes us believe that they're not perfect. And with Mume, it's I feel like her motives and like
Yeah.
her ethics, like how her morals kind of occur, because we see in these next 4 episodes that there's somebody that's kind of clouded the way that one might tend to normally like think with empathy and such for others because of the conditions she was raised.
Well, yeah, we also see her not fully understanding death
Yeah.
or how to comfort a child in when their dog passes away. We see
Yeah.
that firsthand, like the way she sees it, and then she runs
She
off
relates it to
crying.
herself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about, dude? You can't talk to a kid like that." And she was like, "Wait, no, no, no. I thought it was helping." You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like she just doesn't get it.
Because somebody, when she was in a moment of need, that's how it was handled with her. But
Yeah.
now when the tables are flipped and she's giving the same response that she got as a kid, now that there's more people around that actually were probably raised with more sensible morals,
Yeah.
ethics, empathy.
But yeah, no, I
Yeah,
love that they showed that though. I love that they showed that how I mean, that explains how she thinks without saying
she
it.
might be strong, but she's not perfect.
Yeah.
She might be this she might be able to defeat Kabane, but that doesn't mean that she's entirely strong and without weakness.
Yeah. What do you think about this squad? We
The
got the main
leadership squad.
squad, the leaderships. We got them trying to figure out what's going to happen, and then
Mhm.
Mume kind of like ruins it, just says, "Oh, whatever. I'm just going to
Yeah,
do
she just
this."
kinda shows up and is just like, "I'm gonna fight.
But
Not with
like,
you guys, but I'm gonna fight."
but like
Like,
this
"Mume, what?"
squad, yeah, exactly. But like this squad in general, I feel like this is a good crew. Like I'm
Yeah.
scared that we're gonna lose one or two of
Oh,
them,
yeah.
really. But like this squad, as far as like tactical side, I'm digging it. I'm super happy to see what they or excited to see what they do going forward.
It's I can believe that that each person in that room at this point has built up this sense of respect for each other, that we've gotten this far because we're able to rely on each other. And so we
Mhm.
have to be making the moves and the right steps with each other. And that's why Mume shows up and they're like, Mume, let's get you in on the plan. And she's like, oh no, just don't do you want us to start over? Can we start over? That's what they say. Like, can we start over and talk about the plan with you? And she's like, no,
Yeah.
just keep going. Just keep going.
Ugh, I hate that. If I was doing a group project,
Yeah,
that would be
exactly.
the person that would be like, just please do your job. Oh, you just
Their
had to do
job was to be the
one.
presenter, and they
Yeah.
actually show up not looking at anything anybody's done, and so the people that actually worked on the project are the ones that are presenting it too.
Yeah, yeah. You had to do you just had 2 slides to do, man. Just you didn't do them. What's going on? So we get our main sort of dilemma that happens within the next couple episodes, which brings about a whole nother huge dilemma because w- there's this fallen tower that they got to get past, which is really the crux of it and why they
Yeah.
need to stop and slow down or
If
whatever
that
and
tower
figure
wasn't
that
there,
out.
they could just keep going.
Yeah, but the people said that it was like a couple times that people said that it was like black smoke, big black
Yes.
smoke coming out, that Kabane showed up and it was big black smoke. And it was like, okay, well, like they said it too many times. And I love that. I love that they're doing this. They say something and then they say it again. And it's like, wait, okay, that's too many times.
And they
What's
also
happening here?
say, "Hey, the boiler room is packed with kabane. We're not going to go through there." And then Ikumo goes, "Hey, Mume, don't go to the boiler room, all right?" And she's like, "I'm just going to do what I want, and you guys do what you want." And he's like, "Okay, you do what you want, but don't go to the boiler room." And what does she do?
Instantly.
Uh,
Instantly is like, well, that's where all of them are.
yeah.
So here we go. We
I'm the
see the
claw. That's what she says.
I'm the flaw. It's me. I'm
Oh,
the
she's the
problem. It's me.
claw and the flaw.
Oh, the claw and the flaw. Yes, she does say I'm the claw. Yes.
Yeah.
But we see this was pretty dope. I've got to say, I
Yeah.
was not expecting this. That just all the Cabernet form into a huge like mind, hive mind sort of blob guy,
Have you ever
and
played Pikmin? Any Pikminers in chat?
any Pikminers. I know you're a
That
Pikminer.
there's this smoky enemy in the first game that looks exactly like that guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the hidden boss,
So the hybrid colony
a
here
hybrid
of
colony.
Pikmin emerges, and I was like, "Oh fuck, how are they gonna do this?" Like, I instantly knew how the stakes were relevant
Mhm.
because they just got new weapons. They
Yeah.
just were able to be like, "Oh wow, I don't know how they survived up until now." Like, really, it's really truly the
Well, I
last.
think their old steam guns could pierce a Cabernet's heart, but it was like you needed a couple shots. But now it's like one clean shot and it's good to go. They're
Hmm.
just done. So it's like it's a sizable upgrade, but now
But
you
now
have
this,
an enemy that's a culmination of a bunch of different enemies, and you got to kill the core.
yeah, which we learn is one Cabernet that's the host or hosting all of these somehow. Who
Hmm.
cares? It's a
Who
bad
cares?
guy. It's a bad thing. Some of this stuff too, I was like, it's later on, maybe in episode 6 or 7, I think. No, 6 or 8, where there was like some suspension of disbelief for me. Again, I'm like, it's kind of wearing thin, but I'm like, this is so cool. I don't
Hmm.
care. I'm cool with it. Whatever. Fuck it up. Do it. But yeah, the introduction of this big hybrid colony goes into episode 6. So what happens in episode 6? Gathering light.
In episode 6, we see Ikuma tries his best to free Mume from the rubble that she's been trapped under. Meanwhile, they're discussing the concept of weak versus strong, what it means to be weak, what it means to be strong. Ikuma manages to calm Mume's nerves as she begins to freak out before taking on a horde of Kabane that is also in the mine with them. Some time passes, and the Kotetsujo manages to clear the rubble, freeing Mume, and then her rushing to Ikuma's side. The train managed to mount a new cannon that was resting at the
Huh?
bottom of the ravine and proceed to use this new weapon in combination attack with Mume to defeat the hybrid colony.
Sheesh.
Awesome.
Looks insane.
All action. Just like
It
it gave us this moment with Mume and Ikuma to just kind of like have them reflect on like what do we even do right now? Like, we're
Uh-huh.
stuck. And I think it's where we leave off at episode 8. I think this moment's really important for Mume's character,
Mm-hmm.
for like how the story is gonna resolve with her. Um, I think this moment where she's trapped under a rock and she sees a horde of Kabane coming, and she's like, I would probably have trouble with that, but without even thinking about it, Ikuma goes rushing in to defend her.
So that
Because
that was part of my
even though we're weak, we can still fight. That's what he says.
yes, that was the lesson to Mume and to the audience for sure, which was really cool, which is great. I love that. I'm not trying to poke holes in that at all. But for is it possible for Ikuma, who just learned how to fight a little while ago, to hold his own with that much resolve? To hold his own with that many Kabane?
I mean, it shows him being a little resourceful. It does at
No,
one
it
moment
does
where like
for
yeah,
sure
like
because he
he
is an
pops up
engineer.
some of the suicide packs and shoots
Great.
them to like drop parts of the mine on people. And then we also get a little bit later in the next episode that apparently Kabaneri are really good at imitating people. And so at
Yes,
this point, he's seen quite a few people in engagement with the Kabane. So him and his as a Kabaneri, I feel like it goes to like wordless storytelling that he's just gonna get stronger in a hurry, if that's the
sure.
case.
Whichever one came first, was that because the narrative was this way, so they had to explain it, or that's how it was supposed to?
That's what
The
I mean.
chicken and the egg, whatever. That's cool. Yes, totally. They explain it away, sort of, but still, I was like,
Kind of.
but
Yeah.
then, I mean, we didn't even talk about Mume's like fighting all the Kabane. Like that was insane. Like in the boiler room where she
Mhm.
shoots the suicide packs, and it was great. I love all the action here. I'm not faulting the action. It's so good. It's so
Yeah.
cool.
I haven't talked about any of it because it's just so good that it's like it speaks for itself.
Yeah,
And but
it's
there's
awesome.
in between it, there's still so much going on.
Hmm. So
It's keeping the story going with this high octane action, which is awesome.
yes. Um. So Ikama goes and fights the Kabane. They get rescued, and my the one gripe was that they're just like magically better after a while. Like they leave, and then the battle's still going on, and then Ikuma and Mume are just up and ready again. When
Hmm.
Ikuma was on the ground, he was knocked out. He was like, "I can't move. Don't move me." And then they're just back up and ready to fight again.
Hmm.
I think that was where I was like, I get that they might have like super healing or whatever, but like,
As long as they keep drinking that blood.
is it really that? Like,
I'm
do
pretty
you
sure.
think
I
you
think
just
that because she started freaking out and like she was like, I'm gonna turn into a cabaneri or a cabane, and then he gave her blood, and then like all of those veins that like kind of started to shine,
yeah,
calm down and whatever. So I would think that that's their kind of like power limiter thing, is the more blood they drink, the more their powers can
sure.
stay kind of established.
But
Regeneration.
you weren't thinking about that. Like that's all I
I
was
did.
thinking about.
No, I did. I did
Okay.
think about it, but I think I'm thinking about the rules that the universe might have that would allow that to happen,
Okay.
and that's what my conclusion comes to. And yeah, like you
Sure.
said, the fight still goes on, and a little bit of suspension of disbelief. I'm like, how did they mount this cannon in the middle? How did they mount the cannon if the what's it called? If the
Uh,
hybrid colony is
yeah.
still. Oh, wait,
Nah,
wait.
man.
It did show it disappear for a second, I think, because they retreat into the station, they close the
Yeah.
door, it
Yeah.
smacks into the door, and then all of it like dissolves for a second.
Yeah, and then they vibe for a bit.
Yeah, and so
That's
this
probably
is
where it came from.
okay.
I was okay. I
Fine.
wasn't I was like okay with the cannon. I don't know why. I was like, yeah, they got the cannon up. I was like, okay, cool.
How though? They just be
Fuck
like
it, bro.
again back to Pikmin. They just have a bunch of guys around it, and they all just all right, everybody heave, and they just all pick it up at the same time.
They do have a train full of people. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
Pikmin style.
Let's talk about Mume's character development because we get a lot of backstory here that we didn't talk about how she was weak, quote unquote, before, how somebody saved her. That it's a whole thing. What do you think about her backstory so far?
Everything given her backstory, it makes sense as to the person that she is now and the way that she's acting, in the ways that she's acting, where she doesn't believe anybody's right except for her brother. In the cases of all of these, like weak versus strong, the strong will live, the weak, will only live until the strong decide they won't, type deal.
Hmm. Makes sense.
She's Yeah, it all makes sense, and I think it sets her up to have a really good, like, the I forgot his name, but the guy that meets her outside the train, with the eye patch and
Inoku.
whatever, he tells her, like, stop pretending you're friends with a bunch of, like, villagers or whatever, and get back to the actual thing that you were meant to do, because
Hmm.
if you become unuseful, you'll be disposed of. And, like, I think it
Well,
all makes
because
sense for her.
yeah, and because he was disposed of.
And she yeah,
Because
he was
he was.
disposed of, and then she, again, this flashback that she's looking at, she's seeing somebody that's crying out to her for help just get executed. And at first glance, it shows this a couple times, and you just see this shot. But then later on, after episode 7 ends, we and episode 8, that guy standing there doing that is her comrade. That's like her ally doing that. That's not an enemy. That's that's same team. That's friendly
Hmm.
fire right there. That's not a suicide pact. That's somebody shooting you in the back. So
Crazy.
yeah, be disposed of if you're not
Insane.
useful.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What was this shot? Oh, this. Oh my God, we had so many cool shots
So many cool
of
shots.
Kurusu and Ikoma together, dude. Oh my God, I was hype. I was like jumping up and down when they were like, "If you die, don't play." Dude, this anime is so funny. It's like
Yeah.
so cool. There's so much action. So cool, super funny with like deadpan delivery, and I'm just like, yes, like the characters interacting together. They set up so many characters, and I love when they interact with each other. They give us little bits, especially in this moment with Kurusu and Ikuma, and I'm like, we know they kind of low key hate each other, but
Well,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
we're gonna
But
fight
at
together.
this point, it's like the guardian rivalry. Like,
Sure.
Ikuma's protecting everybody out of spite,
Mhm.
and Kudasu's protecting everybody out of, like, the honor of duty or whatever, the line of
Mhm.
duty. And so you get that clashing ideal of we're both trying to do the same thing, but we're not doing it for the same reasons.
Mhm.
So that's the
Yeah,
that they're
and
gonna have.
it's so good, and the way they fight together, and the way they're like, they're perfect. It's so
Yeah.
cool. I love them.
Mhm.
Those moments were so dope.
It is believable, again, believable that, like, up to this point that they would have had that animosity, but especially after Ikuma slays the big guy, I forgot his name, and then, upgrades their gear and everything, that thin line of respect has been established now.
Sure.
Whereas
Yes.
before it was like, yeah, throw him off the train, he's a Kabane. It's just another Kabane.
Sure. And now you believe, like you said, there's a thin line of respect because it's like
Mhm,
now they are same team. Now Ecom has given a little bit to help out
mhm.
everybody. And now I believe that if Ikumo was in trouble, Kurisu would at least take a glance at it. At least be like,
Exactly.
hold on, is he okay? Like real quick,
Because
and then be like, okay, cool. He's
even, like, the big guy said that when he was locking them in the back train that one time, he was like, "Yeah, we wish you could help, but the other guys are kind of scared about getting bit in the back.
yeah.
Sorry." But now
Yeah.
it's like that's gone. That's
Mhm.
dissolved. And
It's so cool.
it's nice that we had to get here.
Yeah, and we saw the whole and it makes it more believable and it makes it so much better. This
Yeah.
whole episode is so much better because of where we came from.
Mhm.
Where we have the whole working together, hold the snipe shot. We got the what's we don't even know
Oh
her
yeah,
name
the
yet. The
whole
girl with the
every
train holding like we gotta go, all this stuff, and
yes.
we gotta go back, and
The
her
show
back.
did a really good job at the second half of this episode of making use of like every character where we get to see um yeah, Takumi manning the gun. We get a couple more names through here, I think, because Sukari, I don't know if we knew his name before. He has
No,
to
I
like
didn't.
clean a part out of a part of the
That part was
engine. And then
suspense.
we just get another name with Yukina. We learn Yukina is the name of the engineer, the conductor. So like she's trying to clear the limiters, and then uh they shoot the thing. Ayame kills it, and then it creates an impact that the whole train almost gets derailed. And
Yeah,
Ayame, thinking on her toes, now it's Ayame's turn. She goes, "Everybody move to one side,"
and
and
that's
then
another part.
everybody does.
That's and push to
Ah,
get the train on the rails. That was
I
another part
loved
where I
it.
was like, I don't know about that one. I was like,
It was like again, it felt I was like, am I watching Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress or am I watching the Polar Express? But it's like I'm here, I'm for it.
yeah,
That's Ayame. That's what Ayame got to do. She got to
no,
direct everybody to do that.
totally. I love everybody got around. Like you're saying, it's so good.
Uh,
Literally all the characters we've been watching so far have some sort of play in this, and the suspense it created was not false for me. Like I was actually like, okay, hold on. I was like, are they gonna do this? Like this is pretty crazy because at first I didn't know how they were gonna get into what.
One thing I forgot that happened is at one point when the hybrid colony jumps at the train, it kicks off one of the rear cars, and we just never talk about it. One of the
Yeah,
cars just gets kicked
yeah.
off.
I was like, oh, that was full of people.
I hope not. I mean, they usually kept the Cabaneri in the back car from
Yeah, I
like,
guess
so maybe
so.
that's just their maybe that's just that
Well,
car that got kicked
we're
off
just not
that we
gonna
don't
talk
need
about.
anymore.
Yeah,
But I saw that happen and I was
it
just
like
thinking
flew at the
about that.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
They just didn't
It's
think
just
about it though.
a bunch of people gone, I guess,
Yeah.
whatever. But seeing them all take a round and all of them pitch into w- the ultimate win here just felt so good. It was so cool. It was such a cool scene. I love this episode. I love it felt so much more impactful, like we've been saying, because of everywhere we've been already.
Mhm.
And now we're finally seeing the crew grow, which also makes it super like feel good because we get a shopping episode in episode 7,
Mhm.
pretty much. So
It's a lot of build up into this huge like you said, the stakes feel high, there's tension, you don't know if everybody's going to make it out, who's going to make it out, but yeah, everybody manages to get out of there, and you know you're tense, you're like looking for that relief of tension. um and yeah, they the next episode starts off and they do the horn and the state because they see a new station, they like signal the station, and for the first time on their trip since they've left, they get a signal back.
mhm. So what happens in episode 7, Begging the Heavens?
Episode 7, to keep the recap light because there is so much to dive into. The Kotetsujo arrives at Shitori Station, the first populated station it's encountered since leaving Kenkin Station. Ikuma and the others go shopping for supplies and experience their first moment of peace in ages. Mumei's brother arrives in the station with his group in tow. Episode 7. In a nutshell, there's a lot to talk about.
He's here finally.
Um, at the top, we get the small bit of world building where Cabaneri are apparently really good at copying people.
Yeah.
So Ikuma copies Kudusu's technique, and Kudusu gets all petty and like smacks him on the head in response.
So good.
I really like this episode because it's like we see them handle the hybrid colony, right? And you just like, all right, what else? Like, what else could really be thrown at them?
Mhm.
And you get this really nice moment of levity throughout their time here. But then right at the end of the seventh episode, it spoiler non spoiler, you get the introduction of Mume's brother, who with this just ebony black train rolling into the station. Everybody's cheering, but nobody's smiling, nobody's waving back in response. It's just this stone cold group of mercenaries, and you just know that these guys are no good. There's something up.
Sure, something's up because they've gone 20-0 against Kabane. Like they said, they've never lost a battle against Kabane. So, like, what are they doing differently? And we find out what they're doing differently than everybody else in the world. But we get. I didn't feel. I usually hate shopping episodes. I'm not a big fan. I really don't care. Give me a story going through it, and they did this time in this anime,
Yeah,
which is great. And because, like you were saying, it comes off of such a huge high that I'm like, this is earned.
yeah.
Before, like usually with a shopping episode, it doesn't feel earned, and I'm just
Mhm.
like, okay, this is kind of weird. Like, what are we doing here? But this felt like, okay, now we have some tension to relieve, and now it's okay. Now, like us, the audience, as well as the characters, can relax a little bit, and it feels fine.
I feel like every other anime could take notes from this anime on how to do a shopping episode right.
Yeah,
Because
because
it does a lot of things while it's doing this. It's like you said, it's still giving you story through it.
mhm,
You're getting to see characters interacting with each other that are already established, that
mhm,
we understand their motives, their desires, their weaknesses. We already understand these characters, and we want to see these characters in a new fresh environment after having all of that established, not before or for more establishing. We need all
mhm,
that to be worked out. You want to have like you said, moments that will progress the characters further, and also moments that will build into the world, moments
yeah,
that make the
and
world feel more believable, because again, it should be a new place, a new setting. We should be at a new place for a shopping episode, and so we have to have new things happening, new developments happening,
yeah,
even if it's just for world building.
we had the whole them realizing that it's Tanabata,
Mhm.
which is a tradition that they do. We
So
learn
you get
about
here and,
that.
oh, the town's celebrating a holiday. We made it just in time for this holiday.
Now that's sort of the through line. Like, oh, we got to get ready for this thing, and then it inadvertently becomes a shopping episode. Then they're like interacting, like you're saying. It's so cool to see all these other people interacting with each other, and then we see what's her name? Ayame doing her own little thing where there was like a whole little side story as
Yep.
well where they weren't sure that they were going to share their resources.
Yep.
But then her sort of taking the lead and saying like, no, we're gonna do good. We're gonna do right by them because this is humanity. And it shows her character so much there too. Like it shows so much that like whether they're gonna share anything, whether they're gonna do whether this is, you know, perceived as whatever,
Mhm.
I'm going to help them out because that's the right thing to do. And I'm going to give this whole town the blueprints to jet bullets. And
Mhm.
can you do this for me? And you ask without coming in like hostile. And it shows her as a good leader. It
Mhm.
shows her like doing it the right way
Being able to handle negotiations.
and not
Yeah.
be afraid. Yeah, to ask for more, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, "Hey, here's this," and he was like, "Oh, this is great. Yes, yes, for sure." And then she was like, can we ask you to take our wounded and sick?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah." It's like, "Okay, cool."
Mhm.
I
So,
love
yeah,
that.
you get that moment with them. You get, Ka somebody else who I don't know had been named up to this point, Kajika, who's kind of like the blacksmith engineer that's taken on the caretaking role, watching over the children. We always see her with the kids. Kajika and Mume, they're out shopping for fabrics and foodstuffs, and Kajika is just like, she is a shrewd customer that knows that with
I
a sharp
love
tongue,
that.
and then Mumei's like, "Oh, look at that. Kajika actually goes to war too. Even though
It's
she's not out
so
there fighting with us, like she's going to war."
it's so
Um,
good.
you
I
get
love that.
Ikuma and Takumi going for metals and powders, and then you get Ibushi confronting them, which I loved this moment because it's just shown how far these two characters have come since episode 1.
Mhm.
Because the last time, they spoke out of turn to Ibushi, they got a bunch of boots in the face.
Yeah, and then they handled him.
Yeah, and then thrown
And
into
they handled
jail.
him now.
And yeah, Ikuma just, like, grabs this dude by the rifle and throws him out of the shop. Because the guy knows he's in the wrong. He knows he can't just, like, be doing the things that he's doing, but if nobody's gonna stop him and put him in check, he's just gonna keep doing it.
Mhm.
You get Yukina and Sukari going for repair materials for the train, and then they don't have to, but they end up breaking unfortunate news to a kid that's in the train yard who says that his dad also worked on a Hayajiro, but it's the one that crashed into their home station.
Where do you feel on that situation? Because the situation
That's
was
so mixed.
yeah, because this kid believed that his
His
dad would
dad would
come
be coming.
back, coming back home on the train, but them to know that the train all is lost with the
All is
train.
lost.
No,
Yeah.
there was nobody there, and one of them was, like, trying to keep up, like, the
It's
facade,
like,
like, "Oh, yeah."
I don't know about other trains. I just know about my train.
Yeah, and not giving any more information and keeping him hopeful, and then he just comes in and says, "No, this is the one that crashed into our place. This is where we just came from,
Yep.
and they're all dead."
That's why we're here.
I don't know how I would handle that situation. I feel like I would wanna tell them, but I
Let's
don't
see,
know if I'd
then
have it
take it another
in
step. You get the kid, crying and, stuff, and then her going like, "Why would you say something like that?" And he's like, "Well, I wish somebody had told me."
so it makes sense for the character, for
Yes,
sure,
but
but as far as me like, I wanna know where you would like, what would you
I
do in
don't
that
I
situation?
don't I don't know. That's
So
so I
hard.
would probably be more the former than the latter. I would
Okay.
probably be like, I don't really, trains are moving around all the time.
Bro, what's a train? I don't know.
What's what the fuck is a
Forget
train?"
everything you know.
That's hard. That's a
Yeah.
really hard moral quandary that I love the again, this is happening in the context of a shopping episode. It's building the world. We see those trains and these I can't talk. We see all these tragic things happening with the crew of the other trains, and this is here to remind us that, like, all of
This
those people still have family.
this brings humanity to it. We see people dying, we see people getting bit, whatever, and then
And you
having a
almost get
kid ask
desensitized. Yeah.
sure, yeah, and then having a kid ask because, like, whenever you're looking at this big ol' this huge hybrid colony, all of those were people.
Yep.
This is built of normal people that got turned somehow.
Yep.
And it builds on the humanity that they've already done because before we saw Ayame's dad get hit by the train. Like we clearly knew what he looked like and we saw him get turned and then hit by the train. It's like, oh, like oof, that character was there. Now he's not.
Yep.
And now here's the consequences of that or what's here's how the story is going to go forward and they've been bringing that up ever so often and even in the shopping episode when we're supposed to be having fun and hanging out there's still a little bit of that stuff too which is great it's so
Yep.
good. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this shopping episode because we
Yep.
also learn that it's Mume is not her name.
Yeah.
It's Hatsumi. So Hatsumi is this character's real name.
And Mume
um
means nameless, we find out.
Yes, we find that out in episode 8,
Yeah,
but
later on.
as soon as I heard that that was her real name, I looked up Mume and I was like, "Oh, this means anonymous, nameless, unknown in Japanese kanji." And I was like, "Oh, okay, what's this about?" Um, so they have the whole thing there with Ikoma and Mume.
Yeah, because so there's a small little thing off to the side where the person that gave a warning to Mume, they're like plotting against somebody who goes by the Liberator.
Sure.
So the Liberator's former ear is meeting with one of the Shogun's Council of Five to plot against the Liberator. After that, we see that the bamboo's been gathered to celebrate the holiday. I forgot the name.
Tanabata.
Tanabata. So they gather the bamboo for it, and Mumei's curious as to what's going on with it, and she realizes that she remembers her mom celebrating Tanabata. So she runs
Hmm.
off upset with Ikuma going after her, and they have this
Yep.
whole conversation where it's like it's her kind of like contemplating the concept of death, and that the fact that any day, the next day could be the last for her, and she
Yeah.
has to live in this perpetual like unknowing state of, am I going to go to sleep and wake up as somebody else? And we get to like really see her handle it in a curious way.
But she's also handling it with somebody that's in the same boat. So, I mean, he's newest to it. He's the one that just got turned. Um, and she knows way more than him about it because reasons we find out in episode 8. Um, but it's weird how they both handle it because Ikuma sees his sister in her, and we in the past, what was it? Episode 5, I think, where Ikuma is trying to hold up the crane for all the stuff, and he's holding it up, and that was his job, right? To get
Mhm.
the stuff off the tracks.
Correct.
And then Mume goes down into the pit and gets
She
attacked or
gets tossed
whatever.
off.
She gets tossed off. He chose her to jump off and get her and sort of save her, and he relinquished his job. And I was like, in the moment, I was like, why would he do that? It was like a confusion for me because I was like, that's kind of out of character. Like he wants to save all the people. He wants to save all these people, whether it's spite or whatever. He wants to do that. I thought that was his number one. And then he goes to save Mume. And I was like, what is this? What's going on? But then in this moment, I was like, oh, he sees his sister in Mume and he sees him trying to help her, and he wants to help her. He wants to protect her or whatever because he couldn't protect his sister in the past. It makes sense to me. I don't know if you thought of that.
No, yeah. We get the little flash of that, and it's like it makes sense because yeah, he said that he'll never, run again. He'll never let somebody else die because he chose to
Sure.
run. And I think that's exactly what happens in that moment. He sees Mume get tossed, and it's like not I feel like in that moment, him letting go of the train and going after her, he's more so saving her and not dooming them. Where if he
Mhm.
leaves the crane up, he's saving them but dooming her.
Yeah. I laugh because I'm reading your little captions for photos. Y'all can't see them, but I can. The little captions for the photos, and one of them got me. Um, we got to keep going because we're talking about episode 7 too long. We have a whole nother episode. Um,
Yeah. It's
Biba
so good.
Biba is Mume's brother. Oh no, he's hot, and he comes in with his crew, and he's like, "Let's fucking fight
Yes.
some
La-
things."
last note on episode 7 too. Before that, we get the scene of everybody doing their wishes, and at first somebody's just like, oh, you're just wishing for survival, and then Ikoma says, I want to wish for more than survival, I want more. So his wish is to destroy all the Kabane and take back their fields, their stations, and he wants
Mhm.
to do this in an effort so that way he can turn Mume back into a person and have her be able to eat all the rice that she wants. And when
Yes, and never stop.
it goes around to everybody, oh, what's your wish, what's your wish? And after Ikoma makes his statement, like everybody's wishes are just much more filled with like their personality instead of like just survival. They can,
Yeah,
even though they're in this crazy state, they can still have big dreams.
because I made this statement like when I was watching it, I was like, "What's the point of living if you're only surviving?"
Exactly.
And like them finally trying to find their humanity is some of the most is why I love zombie content so much. I'm a big fan of zombie movies, zombie books and stuff because it's like, yes, there's a problem, and a lot of the time it's the biggest thing that's happening. But in order to stay sane, we have to still celebrate birthdays or something. You know what I mean? We got to keep the humanity
Yes.
alive in it, and that's some of the most interesting storytelling in zombie content.
Some of the most interesting storytelling in zombie content. One of the other most interesting parts of storytelling in zombie content, which we also get in this episode, the biggest enemy is not the zombie, but your fellow man.
Episode 8,
Episode 8.
The Silent Hunter.
Biba, leader of the hunters, is greeted by everybody in the station like a hero. However, Ikuma, knowing Mume as much as he does, is not so willing to easily trust him. The Council of Five crew tries to assassinate Biba using his old ear and a distraction of a Kabane horde. Biba makes a counterplay on them, leaving the council crew defeated. Biba offers to escort the Kotetsujo to their destination, with Ayame reluctantly agreeing. Mume is sent to retrieve the master key from Ayame after they depart the station. Tensions rising between the crew of both trains as Ikuma realized there's a horde of Kabane in the front cabin, as he reveals Biba's twisted mannerisms to the rest of his crew.
Sheesh, man. Um,
Biba's an interesting villain that I
yes.
can't get. I don't quite understand him yet.
No, especially because of the end where Ikuma's kind of like he was smiling this whole time, and then he's torturing them, and he has all the Kabane around him in that one little area, and it's like, is he sadistic? Is he crazy? What parts of what? How many percentages of either? Um, because it's
Because he
just
also throws
wild.
some pretty compelling, some pretty compelling, um, statements at Ikuma that even has Ikuma giving pause and questioning, like, whether or not the concept of the strong should live and the weak should die
Hmm.
makes sense, because by Biba's logic, what's needed to survive isn't to run and hide. It's the ability to fight without being afraid, which Ikuma in his shoes that he's in probably can attest to that himself. Like he's even said it in the past episodes that we've been watching at some point. If you guys get bitten, it's game over. I can take bite after bite and keep going.
Hmm.
So he's no longer scared. He can fight because he's not scared.
Yeah,
And
and
he also could fight because of the jet bullets that he also invented. So
sure.
like he's been making step after step of like, we're not running and hiding, we're gonna fight. So here you have the leader of the hunters giving him his response to, why would you say the strong should live and the weak should die? And that's his response. And Ikuma's like, hold up, you might be onto something.
Yeah,
And
and we
then
see the whole
alarm bells.
yeah, and we see all of them fight. We see Biba's crew going in there effortlessly
Hiding outside the
fighting
walls and just
outside the wall, so epic. And then as well, Ikuma's realizing, oh, we got to take the fight to them, and we can do that. Like you're saying, because he can take bites. He gets bitten at a time, and he's like, oh, whatever, cool, and he can just keep going. So are we going to see a changed Ikuma after this? Yes, I think so. We're going to see him fight better, um, and harder, probably. I still don't think he has enough to beat Biba and his crew because there's just so many of them, and also they are attached and being escorted. So we see Biba Sama killing Inoku, who's a former ear. Um, and we learn that Mume was experimented on by Biba, uh, getting injected with Kabane blood. Because she said that again, the little hints and stuff,
mhm.
the little hints of
She said
like
she was never bitten.
she's never been bitten. Uh, how she's not weak. She was like, I'm not weak. I've never even been bitten. Whatever.
Yeah.
And it was like a throwaway line, and I was like, wait, what she does say? Wait, hold on. what happened here? It's so good. Such a cool. I love the narration of the scene of the whole anime. It's just so good because they're dropping little hints here, and they want you to pick them up. And the action is so good too. Man, this whole fight outside and this whole confrontation here as well.
Yeah, the whole sequence of the hunters, like, sweeping up the Kabane with them rolling out, like, and
It
just dropping mortars on them, and then it's like, "Alright, now everybody, move out," and they all roll out on fucking motorcycles,
yes,
little
it's
bikes
so
that they're still
good.
shooting from without even holding their,
Without missing
yeah.
too.
Oh my god.
Straight to the heart. So good. I laughed earlier because of this caption, not a groomer, just a loser. Oh my god. That's so funny. Okay. Um
Yeah,
Biba's such a
Biba's
cool character.
he's a cool character even though he's the villain. Villains
Yes.
can be cool.
Um
I
Biba
don't wanna see him
asks
win, but he's cool.
no, yeah, Biba and it also shows like how much Biba has over Mume still,
Mhm.
even though like it was a really clever way to show it too, because we've seen Mume get so close to these characters, so close to everybody on the train. Ikuma having connections with Ayami, having connections with everybody, and then still Biba says move and she moves. And it's like, oh, he has this over her.
And
Like it shows
the
so
way that you
much.
see him do it is crazy where he's just like, "I need you to go get the master train key." But Ayame has that. Is Ayame stronger than you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, but well, then it shouldn't be a problem. Like, just that right there, that's crazy. That was
Yeah.
crazy to watch that happen.
Yes.
Literally gaslit.
Not even like flinching. He doesn't even like he's done this a million times before.
Yeah, and we even see out on the field that, he has another Cabaneri at his side.
Mm-hmm.
There's another Cabaneri that's,
Oh
fighting
yeah, that
him.
worked with oh my god, that was so cool too. That worked with Mume
Mhm.
to fight.
Mume goes out to
Oh,
take care of, like, a Wazatori or something, and then
yeah.
he's like, "Go back her up," and she also removes, like, a neck piece, and then her eyes start glowing.
Yeah.
I forgot I
It's
meant to grab that too.
I don't remember that person's name, but it was so cool to see. All the fight sequences are so dope. Action is so much fun to watch. But then yeah, he was a cool character up until we start picking up the puzzle pieces with Ikuma,
Mhm,
where it's like he's torturing these people. He has Kabane there. He has this crazy something over Mume, telling her that she needs to be strong. If there's no, if everyone was strong, there would be no more sadness.
mhm.
And then we see the smile as things are happening, and he's just sadistic, and he's a great character. And how do you feel about them introducing him at episode 8? Like, we're
Oh, I think
almost
it's
done
I
with.
I I think it's a good point for because again, it's like for the zombie media, it's like, well, the threat's a zombie, the threat's a zombie, and we see them continuously combat that zombie threat up until the point of the hybrid colony and them being able to defeat it. We get the breath of fresh air of the shopping episode, but before that episode can even end, it's like from the frying pan and into the fire with the introduction of his character. I think it was
Yeah,
like the perfect time to introduce his character off the
yeah,
back of such a of even such just that fireworks scene where I'm sitting there emotionally torn up over this episode so far because I'm just so glad that these characters are able to have a moment and then yeah, from the frying pan into the fire with Biba. You see the black train rolling in again immediately, and it's just like symbolically just no,
that
nothing's good.
darkness is coming.
Everybody's cheering, but yeah, darkness is coming
This was the
exactly.
real black smoke that came over them, that came over
Ooh,
the
there it
city.
is.
Oof.
There it is.
So good, man. I'm so digging this anime, Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress. If you aren't watching it, don't just hear us recap it. Definitely recommend you watch this show up until now, because next week we're going to be watching episode 9 through 12, and we're going to finish off the only anime season they have. I think there's other like movies and stuff on Netflix, but this is the last time we're going to be talking about it. Will be next week. So watch episode 9 through 12. And we're going to be here next week to watch and talk about that. But we are also going to be picking a new anime to pick from the anime chest. And if you want to give a anime chest to us suggestion for this, go ahead and give us 500 bits during the live streams and give us your suggestion, and we can add that in by next week. But this is the end of today's episode. Matt, where can they find you on the internets?
When we're not here talking about anime, you can find me on my Twitch at twitch.tv, Matt_Galley. Follow me on any of my socials at Matt_Galley. It's Matt_Galley, ITSMATT_Galley. Instagram, Twitter, all the things. When we're not here, where can the people find you?
On Jules the Human, Jules the Human on all social media, twitter.com/Jules the Human, on Instagram as well, and on Threads. I'm posting on Threads. I don't care for Twitter much. I just use it for wrestling content now. But I'm on Threads posting pictures and stuff. So go follow me over there. You can join the Discord as well if you'd like to talk to either of us and discuss any of the anime that we are watching. If you want to see the anime chest animes, they're there too. Or if you want to play games, there's a lot of people to play games with over there too. But next week, Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, episode 9 through 12. We're done. We're going to rate it.
Anime.
And a new anime. It's going to be up here. I may need to make a new something for all this. It's getting pretty crowded here.
Probably
I got to figure it out.
Maybe like half them or quarter them off once we get the sections filled off.
Quarter them off? Like make them smaller?
Yeah, like make it the
like a group of 4
Yeah.
in one group, but you can't really see them. They're like really small. I want to be able to see the pictures.
We need solutions.
We got to figure it out. We need an engineer. Ikoma, help. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun. I'm digging it. I don't know, Matt. What are you final thoughts?
I
up to date?
Final thoughts. I hope that everybody that we saw at the fireworks scene makes it to the final credits. Otherwise, I will not be okay.
That's a lot of people.
I need all of them to be completely okay.
I think one person is gonna have a problem with that. It's gonna be great. I'm excited.
What I can say is I have no idea how the story will resolve, and I love that. Where it's just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't even, like you said, that it's a huge puzzle for me that's like been presented, and there are so many huge like holes in that puzzle, and I cannot wait to see it completed. Yeah.
Where are the pieces?
Where are the pieces?
We'll put some pieces together next week. Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, 9 through 12. This has been Jules and Matt Anime Hour. See ya later.
Bye.